from Brisbane, 7 News with Katrina Blowers.
Good afternoon. Our top stories on 7. Highway takedown. An alleged kidnapper arrested in Nambour. The end of the road of a wild rampage. A rapid descent for Qantas passengers travelling from Townsville to Brisbane. Technical problems forcing a sudden mid-flight drop. New sheriff body cam of Donald Trump's would-be assassin being arrested. The sniper's criminal history detailed in court. And the Lions open up the den. Fans big and small meet their heroes at a training session. Good afternoon. A man is facing charges over a kidnapping and attempted carjacking in Nambour. The 21-year-old allegedly bundled a woman known to him into a Mazda, crashed it and was only stopped when he then attempted to steal a Toyota. Here's Garth Burley.
Good afternoon, Katrina. On the road just behind me is where police say a terrifying kidnapping came to a crashing end, sparking a dramatic chain of events. You can see in this police body cam an officer running on the road past a crashed car in pursuit of its driver, who it's alleged just minutes earlier held a woman captive in his car in a domestic violence incident. The policeman runs up a hill, down through bushland onto the highway. Officers drag a man from a car and force him onto the bitumen, where he's arrested. Police say this is the alleged kidnapper who had just bashed a driver in an attempted carjacking.
An attempt to do so on an elderly couple where he's caused physical violence towards that couple.
Police say they were alerted to the alleged domestic violence abduction just after 6:30 last night. They covertly tracked the offender's car before spiking its tyres at Webcke. Detectives say the driver accelerated away before running a red light and crashing into an oncoming car. In addition to a string of new offences, the 21-year-old is facing at least 21 old charges. He will remain behind bars until his next court appearance in November.
A Qantas flight to Brisbane made an emergency landing this morning after a technical problem forced pilots to perform a rapid drop in altitude. We'll bring in Rosanna Kingson now. And Rosie, there was a pressurisation issue.
Passengers on board say the plane lost cabin pressure, prompting the pilot to make an emergency descent from about 30,000 feet to 10,000 feet in a matter of minutes. The Embraer aircraft had taken off from Townsville about 6 o'clock this morning and was heading to Brisbane. Some people on board said there was a bit of shuddering and turbulence. Others say they didn't notice something was wrong until the pilot informed them.
It was a bit scary when the plane went down, but yeah, it's what it is. So now we've got to try and get to Auckland.
The pilot said that his primary concern is us, so he had to land.
The pilot kept everybody informed. Everybody was nice and calm. The flight was fine.
Oxygen masks weren't needed because the plane dropped to a safe altitude, but that meant it didn't have enough fuel to continue on to Brisbane. After the Embraer landed safely in Rockhampton, there was about an hour wait before the first passengers reboarded a plane to Brisbane. Many people, unfortunately, missing their connecting flights, but Qantas says they are working to get them to their destinations.
All right, thanks for the update. Rosanna Kingson there. A pilot has been cut free from his biplane with leg and pelvic injuries after it crashed near Boona Airport. The aircraft coming down in a paddock after takeoff. Its wings were torn apart after clipping a tree. The man was the only one on board. Well, we are finding out harrowing details of the assassination attempt on Donald Trump. They've been laid bare as the suspect appeared in court. The lone sniper's extensive criminal history was revealed, along with an obsession with Russia's war in Ukraine. David Woywood reports.
Good afternoon. Well, Ryan Wesley Routh, the 58-year-old at the centre of this apparent assassination plot, has appeared very briefly in a West Palm Beach courthouse today on 2 guns charges. They include possession of a firearm as a felon and possession of a firearm with an obliterated serial number. Now, we are learning more about the detail of this alleged plot. Investigators now say that Routh lay waiting in the bushes bordering Donald Trump's Florida golf course for around 12 hours. They've determined that using mobile phone data in the region. Routh was armed with a Soviet-era style weapon. He had food and supplies, seemingly ready to wait this out. on the chance that the former president would pass by. This new body camera footage too shows his dramatic arrest on a freeway as he tried to flee. As Donald Trump today, speaking on a live stream on X, addressed the moment bullets started flying.
All of a sudden we heard shots being fired in the air, and I guess probably 4 or 5. And it sounded like bullets, but what do I know about that? But Secret Service knew immediately it was bullets. And they grabbed me, and we got into the carts, and we moved along pretty good. I was with an agent, and the agent did a fantastic job. There was no question that we were off that course.
In addition, Donald Trump and Joe Biden, they have also shared a phone call today. Look, it's been described as cordial. The former president even giving his thanks at the end before Joe Biden again addressed the matter of political violence in America.
America suffered too many times the tragedy of an assassin's bullet. It solves nothing and just tears the country apart.
Joe Biden is now ramping up pressure on Congress to pass emergency assistance to the Secret Service to ensure the safety of both candidates after another violent turn in this election campaign.
Well, the Greens are pushing for free public transport across the state as the election looms. Let's go now to our state political editor, Marlena Wapp. Good afternoon, Marlena. The minor party is promising to scrap fares altogether.
Yes, Katrina, the Greens are also claiming credit for the Premier's 50-cent plan after he announced the cheaper fares would become permanent if Labor wins the election. The LNP's vowing to do the same after a spike in commuter numbers during a 5-week trial. Now, the state's 2 Greens MPs, Michael Berkman and Amy McMahon, want to make public transport free across the state and have buses and trains running between stops every 10 to 15 minutes.
We don't want to see people have to deal with all the fuss of tapping on and off. We don't want to see people being pinged and given fines for not having a ticket. Public transport is a public service. It should be free.
They talk about simplistic solutions, but they don't have any detailed planning and they have no ability to deliver. That's the difference here. 50 cents pretty close to free. I'm pretty proud to have delivered it.
Stephen Miles pouring cold water over the Greens announcement. He also believes a ticketing system is needed to keep track of which services are being used and where demand is growing. I'll have more at 6. Katrina.
Thank you, Marlena. Well, one of the federal government's key housing election promises hangs in the balance today. Senators are arguing over Labor's shared equity scheme. Our political reporter Rob Scott with developments from Canberra.
After more than 200 days stuck in the Senate, the government was hoping to bring its Help to Buy policy to a vote today. A shared equity scheme, it would see the government loan up to 40% of the purchase price of a home, helping 40,000 low and middle income earners get onto the property ladder. But the bill is friendless in the Senate. The coalition says people don't want to own a home with the government, and the Greens say it'll make the housing crisis worse by turbocharging property prices. To avoid bringing it to a vote before question time, the government has accused the Greens of filibustering, soaking up valuable time delaying a decision.
Instead of actually taking the significant action that is required to address this housing crisis, instead of doing that, Labor is fiddling around at the margins because they want to be seen to be doing something even though they're not actually doing anything.
Instead of talking about what we're not doing, why don't you talk about what we're doing? Why don't you allow us to bring on a vote on the bill?
The government tried to bring on a vote again after question time, but that was defeated as well.
We've had the extreme right of Australian politics and the extreme left of Australian politics pair up for what purpose? To stop young people being able to buy a home.
Despite delaying a decision, the Greens say they are willing to negotiate to pass the legislation. They want the government to cap rent increases, phase out negative gearing and capital gains tax discounts for property investors. But those are areas that Labor is not willing to give ground on, and so the stalemate continues.
A euphoric Brisbane Lions have held an open training session, much to the delight of Queensland kids on school holidays. Fresh off the back of an epic victory over GWS, fans of all ages had plenty to cheer about. Jacqueline Robson was there.
Well, there's plenty of excitement in the air here at Springfield, making the school holidays even sweeter after the Lions kept the finals dream alive in a nail-biter. Hundreds of kids packed into the training session this morning with the hopes of meeting their heroes who last weekend proved it's not over until the final siren sounds.
I thought they were going to lose, but then they came up really fast.
I almost went to bed with 10 minutes left in the third quarter.
Good luck to the Lions. That was a great match against GWS.
Joe Danaher lifting his side into the preliminary final, slotting the final 2 goals of a stunning win over GWS. Many today hoping the players would be feeling generous.
I'm excited to see Cam Rayner. I got his boots a couple of weeks ago, so we're hoping to get them signed.
With a tried and tested method to snare attention.
I'm trying to get his boots.
The players themselves still coming down from the weekend, a mighty comeback after starting the season with 1 win from their first 6 games.
Probably the number one thing that's held us in good stead so far in this final series is just staying in the moment and actually enjoying it.
The next task is Geelong in a do-or-die clash at the MCG. The Cats have had a week off, looking to make their 3rd grand final in 5 years.
Just don't let Geelong get on top and take it all the way home.
They can do it. They're just at the right time. They seem to have a really good feeling and they're playing great together.
We'll have all the hype heading into the weekend in 7 News at 6 o'clock tonight.
Now for a look at the weather, and Tony, was it just me? It was a little bit harder to get out of bed this morning.
It was, Katrina. After a few hot days to finish winter, we're now getting some colder nights well into spring. Still, after a brisk start, it's been a beautiful day. This shot from the newly opened Neville Bonner Bridge in Brisbane. Checking the numbers, most inland spots dropped to single figures. Toowoomba, Ipswich and Canungra down to 5 degrees. Brisbane stayed up at 12 before posting a maximum of 25. That is just below the September average. Zooming out, and Oakey was the coldest spot in the state, a minimum of minus 2.4 degrees. That's the coldest September morning there in 10 years. Wellcamp Airport near Toowoomba, Dalby and Applethorpe also dropped below freezing. Now looking ahead, staying chilly inland tonight, and we could even see some more light frosts west of the ranges, possible over parts of the Darling Downs, Maranoa and Warrego, and maybe even up into the Central Highlands and Coalfields. Katrina, I'll be back soon with tomorrow's forecast.
Thanks, Tony. See you then. Well, still ahead, drug plot foiled. Liquid meth with a street value of $4 million seized, 3 Queensland men arrested. Final message, the last words from the ill-fated Titan submersible crew. And serving and protecting all creatures, great and small, Mount Isa Police step in to save pups.
Tonight, the wild southeast police chase that ended in a dramatic arrest. A Qantas plane in a mid-air drop. Seat nightmare. The Cowboys scramble to reach their own semi-final. Dogs rescued from a raging inferno. And could the costs of a daily coffee be about to rise? 7 News at 6.
The Instagram Game Changer, a major new announcement from the social media platform to support protecting your kids. Plus, the fitness trend defying gravity. See why more Aussies are taking up the viral workout. Start with Sunrise.
A plot to traffic more than $400 million worth of liquid methamphetamine into Queensland has been foiled by federal police. 1.2 tonnes was seized, hidden in bottles of juice. The joint operation with Canadian officers saw the drugs swapped while in transit from Brazil to Brisbane. Police say it would have created enough crystal meth for 4 million street deals. At least 16 people are known to have died in the devastating floods across Europe. Storm Boris brought extreme amounts of rain and the downpours haven't stopped since.
A catastrophe across Central Europe on a shocking scale. In Poland, raging rivers have swallowed villages, stranded residents rescued from roofs. It's the worst flooding the continent has seen in 30 years, from Austria to Romania. The gushing force sweeping away everything in its path, taking lives and livelihoods. Storm Boris leaving no street or road untouched. The highest rainfall has been in the Czech Republic. In one town, they spoke of unbelievable water levels.
The water was rolling in here, this man said. The flooding here is a disaster. It's really terrible.
In Austria, an area surrounding the capital Vienna has been declared a disaster zone. 2 elderly men died after being trapped in their homes, while a firefighter also lost his life.
These are difficult, dramatic times, the regional governor said. The country and the people are under immense strain.
And it could worsen. More rain is expected over the next 48 hours before drier conditions move in. Italy next in the firing line. Patrick Burns, 7 News.
The last message sent by the crew on the ill-fated Titan submersible has been revealed. A long-awaited US Coast Guard hearing was told they sent a 3-word text to a support ship on the surface that read, "All good here." The vessel then lost contact and imploded, killing all 5 on board. 10 former OceanGate employees will give testimony at the inquiry in South Carolina. Police literally took matters into their own hands when they found 2 dogs under threat from an industrial fire in Mount Isa. The constables picked up the pair, carrying them to safety.
Come on, pup. You all right? Yeah. Come, puppy. Come, puppy.
The pets were then handed back to their grateful owner. The business work, though, was seriously damaged. Australia's Paralympic golden girl is home. Next, we are there as Alexa O'Leary arrives in Brisbane to excited fanfare. And in sport, the Lions Cub tipped to power Brisbane through Saturday's preliminary final.
The biggest transformation to aged care in Australia's history is here. 5 must-see stories over 5 nights, from the senior Australians living in luxury for less to revolutionary at-home care on a budget. We reveal how to set yourself and your loved ones up for A+ aged care. 7 News at 6.
Queensland's Paralympic golden girl Alexa Leary has touched down in Brisbane after her world record-breaking performance in Paris. Rachel Baxter was there to welcome her home.
Good afternoon. She is the queen of the pool. Alexa Leary has touched down in Brisbane after winning 2 golds and a silver at the Paralympic Games. Despite the big flight from Dubai, she was full of energy, showing off her medals and dancing just like she did on the podium in Paris after storming to victory in the women's 100-metre freestyle. The achievement marking another incredible milestone in what this 23-year-old terms her second life. She fell off her bike in a near-fatal accident in 2021, leaving her with brain damage and several long-term injuries. And more than once, doctors informed her parents, Russ and Belinda, they should prepare to say goodbye to their daughter. Then, a clairvoyant predicted that the swimmer would rise to become a Paralympic gold medalist, and she has done just that. Here's a little of what she had to say after touching back down on home soil this morning.
I've got my eye on worlds again next year. I'm just always on the go, so I just can't stop. I'm feeling so good. I'm really proud of myself, but I just love the fact that my family and my boyfriend came with me.
And her parents touched back down in Brisbane this morning as well after a family holiday in Greece for about a week or so. As for Leary, she says it is straight back to business. Her eyes are once again set on another Olympic Games.
We just love that success story. All right, let's take a quick look at the rest of today's sport with Webby.
Thanks, Katrina. Hello, everyone. The Sharks have resisted calls to drop $1 million halfback Nico Hines ahead of Friday night's sudden death semi-final against the Cowboys. The under-fire playmaker keeps his place in the number 7, despite a poor showing in their loss to the Storm, and knows he may never escape the spotlight.
I just got to block it all out. It's going to come. It's going to keep coming for the rest of my career. It's going to keep coming during the week, and look, it is what it is. It's the position I'm in.
Cronulla has lost 7 finals in a row, including a Cowboys defeat 2 years ago. The Lions are expecting 20-year-old midfielder Will Ashcroft to be a major influence in Saturday's prelim final against the Cats at the MCG. In front of fanfare at Springfield, Brisbane praised Ashcroft on his impact towards his side's surge to and through the finals, after returning to the game 2.5 months ago from a ruptured ACL.
It's remarkable for anyone but Will Ashcroft, I'd say, because of the work that he puts in and because of what we see him do behind the scenes.
The second-year player managed a team-high 27 disposals, 10 resulting in goals. He hasn't played a first-class game, but 19-year-old fast bowler Marley Beardman is in line for an Australian debut. The West Australian has been called into the one-day squad ahead of Thursday's series opener against England in Nottingham. The Aussie fast bowling ranks have been ravaged by injury.
Just incredible, so unexpected. I'm just going to try and be as much of a sponge as possible and learn off those boys. They've been doing it so well for so long now.
Beardman was man of the match in Australia's Under-19 World Cup final win. Katrina, I'll come back at 6 for the rest of today's sport.
Well, we look forward to seeing you then.
Thank you.
Thank you. Time to see what's coming up in 7 News at 6 and our Gold Coast Bulletin now. Max and Steve are both here. Good afternoon, guys. Max, a month-long youth crime spree is over.
Hello, Katrina. Yes, tonight our exclusive pictures of teenagers behind a string of alleged break-ins across the southeast. We catch them in their final act, posting and boasting. That was just before police came knocking. Also, $7 for a flat white. Wow, that's what Brisbane cafes say will become the norm, blaming rising costs and red tape. Hear their warning tonight. And the Cowboys issue a Mayday call with no spare seats on any flights to take them to the semi-final in Sydney. The club has a big ask of the NRL, but will it help out?
Gosh, calling in some favours there. And Steve, a hit-and-run driver is on the run tonight.
Yes, good afternoon, Katrina and Max. They knocked a man off an e-scooter at Pimpamar and didn't stop to help. The latest on that manhunt. Plus, what do you make of this? Bus passengers kept waiting at Southport after the driver took a mid-shift coffee break. He might have paid a fortune. And one for parents running out of school holiday ideas. Extra free activities on the coast to keep the kids busy. A big help if you're at your wit's end already.
Well, it's day 2 and I reckon a few parents already are.
Absolutely.
Thanks so much, Steve, and thank you, Max. Well, our Gold Coast viewers are off to the chase now. Then you can join Amanda and Steve for your local news at 5:30 and, of course, Max at 6 o'clock. For the rest of Queensland, bail denied for a troubled former TV host. Next, Andrew O'Keefe's courtroom dressing down, told he'll spend the next month behind bars. Can you believe it? 99 days until Christmas. We bring cost-wary shoppers the top tips to save this festive season. And later, after the weather, Strike a Pose. A documentary looks at the golden era of fashion mag Vogue.
Tonight, the wild southeast police chase that ended in a dramatic arrest. A Qantas plane in a mid-air drop. Seat nightmare. The Cowboys scramble to reach their own semi-final. Dogs rescued from a raging inferno. And could the costs of a daily coffee be about to rise? 7 News at 6.
Live from Brisbane, 7 News with Katrina Blowers.
Welcome back. Our top stories this hour. A man is facing charges over a kidnapping and attempted carjacking in Nambour. The 21-year-old allegedly bundled a woman known to him into a car, crashed it and was only stopped when he then attempted to steal another car, assaulting an elderly couple inside. A Qantas flight from Townsville to Brisbane made an emergency landing this morning after a technical problem forced pilots to perform a rapid drop in altitude. And Golden Girl Alexa Leary has touched down on home soil. Queensland's Paralympic medalist is full of enthusiasm, with her eyes firmly locked on her next event. A magistrate has given Andrew O'Keefe a harsh slapdown as he fronted court yet again. The former TV presenter was told he's lucky to be alive after he was allegedly being caught with drugs at a police station. Bill Hogan has the story.
Good afternoon. Well, Andrew O'Keefe was described by a magistrate today as a frequent flyer as he faced Waverley Court on fresh charges. The former presenter was arrested yesterday while reporting for bail at Rose Bay Police Station. It was there the 52-year-old had an argument with a photographer that pushed him over the edge.
Go and abuse some women, mate.
O'Keefe went inside to report the incident but instead ended up in custody, charged with breaching his bail when officers allegedly found crystal meth in his possession. It comes just 2 days after he nearly died from a heroin overdose while at a party in Vaucluse. Paramedics reviving him early Saturday morning. His lawyer made no application for bail today, to which Magistrate Jacqueline Millage replied, if he wants to stay alive, it's the best thing to do. It's absolutely tragic. It's very, very sad. It's a shame that he doesn't have an epiphany. Is it fair to say that jail is the best place for Andrew O'Keefe right now? Was the decision made for his safety? O'Keefe will remain behind bars until his matter returns to court on October 10. How's your client going?
Look, the matter's before the courts. You guys know as well as I do it'd be inappropriate to comment at this stage. That's all we can say. You heard the magistrate's comments. You've heard the date from number 2. I'm sure at some stage in the future our client may be made, but it can't be today.
Is it fair to say that jail is the best place for your client?
Well, the future of Rupert Murdoch's media empire is being decided in a closed-door court hearing. The news tycoon wants to change his trust to guarantee his companies, News Corp and Fox, remain in control of his politically aligned eldest son after his death. Now, that goes against the current terms that'd see power split between Lachlan Murdoch and his 3 siblings. Rapper Sean Diddy Combs has found himself in new legal trouble this afternoon, arrested by US federal agents. Officers are reportedly scouring his hotel and home, but specific charges haven't been revealed. Defence lawyers say it's an unjust prosecution and that while he's an imperfect person, he's not a criminal. It follows a string of sex trafficking accusations and assault lawsuits. The BBC newsreader who first told the world of the Queen's death has been spared jail for possessing child abuse pictures. Hugh Edwards was given a suspended prison sentence despite paying a convicted paedophile for the obscene material. Joel Dry has the story.
Well, the fall from grace for one of the UK's most recognisable broadcasters and personalities is complete. But Hugh Edwards, the man who announced the death of the Queen to the world, will not spend any time in prison, with a magistrate here at Westminster Court handing him a suspended 6 months jail term, meaning he was free to leave the building, albeit as a convicted child sexual offender. The details of his criminality are very hard to hear. The court was told that over a period of 18 months he received close to 400 images from a man over WhatsApp. Almost 40 of them were clearly of children. 7 of them, some of them videos, were of the most serious category, depicting children who were likely around the age of 7 years old. It is because of these mitigating circumstances that he was spared prison time. The magistrate saying he had been suffering from a mental disorder and was treating that using alcohol. He was under stress. However, the magistrate also felt that the likelihood of him being targeted in prison and the fact he was unlikely to reoffend made him feel that it was an acceptable case to suspend that jail sentence. So while he will not be in prison tonight, he has given himself a life sentence. He will never work in the public eye again, the magistrate confirming to him that his reputation is now in tatters.
Well, there are officially 99 days, believe it or not, until the big day, Christmas. And the latest data has revealed that 83% of Australians are anxious about spending within their budgets this festive season. Now, the good news is that by planning early and taking advantage of sales on now, there are plenty of ways to save money ahead of the big day. Financial planner Canna Campbell joins us now. Canna, so lovely to have you on the 4 p.m. news. Now, this data shows that Australians are set to spend $2,200 on average. So what are some simple ways we can all save money?
Well, I'd recommend everyone start researching and building a list of who they need to buy and what they'd like to buy. And the moment they see that particular item go on sale, grab it. Then, of course, remember, savings go both ways. If you're looking to save money, ask someone, what do they want? What do they really need right now? Because then you will help that person save money and obviously reduce landfill and waste. And then shopping through websites where you get cash back, like Cash Rewards and Shopback, are a great way to be saving money because you can often get additional discount codes, but you're also earning money back on your own shopping, which you can save up and buy yourself something nice as well.
Yeah, now this data also shows that 89% of parents are saying they're pretty anxious about spending within their budget. So I know you've got kids. What are some budget-savvy ways for families looking for food and toys?
Absolutely. Young families are feeling the pinch the most. So number one is review your budgets. We should be doing this anyway, but particularly as we come close to Christmas, so we've got 14 weeks, go through the budget and look at what you can do to start cutting down and saving money now. So even simple things like changing your everyday essentials by shopping somewhere else. Also, if you can just even put $20 aside each week until Christmas, there's an extra $280 that you'll have saved up to help pay for gifts. And then don't be afraid to shop the pre-loved circular economy, particularly with children. You know, something's hot 1 minute and then it's gone the next.
Now, what are some of the retail trends happening now that Aussies can take advantage of?
Yes, this is really exciting. We're going to see these festive season sales kick off nice and early and go for a longer period of time. So my number one tip is the Amazon Prime Big Deal Days sale. Now, this is just around the corner, so we can be really nicely organised. It kicks off on the 8th of October and finishes on the 13th. And there are going to be some major savings across leading brands. So it's a great way to start buying those gifts, even if you can buy one a week or one a fortnight. You can make the most of these sales and hopefully leave a little bit of extra money left over if you plan properly.
All right, putting that one in my calendar right after I get off air today. Canna Campbell, thank you so much for joining us on the 4 p.m. news.
Thank you for having me.
Well, to other news, and there are new headaches for the ABC today with further accusations of doctored audio in its reporting of alleged Afghan war crimes. Our chief correspondent Chris Reason has more.
Good afternoon. The former Special Forces soldier at the centre of claims of video tampering against the ABC has now doubled down, revealing more accusations against the national broadcaster.
On Sunday night, the Channel 7 Spotlight program aired a series of bombshell accusations from decorated Commando Heston Russell against the ABC and its war crimes reporting in Afghanistan 2022, including one online news story where the audio of extra gunshots appeared to have been added to the report. The ABC has now admitted an error, removed that report and launched an internal investigation. But Mr Russell alleged today that another broadcast on the flagship 7:30 report has even more added gunshots.
How many shots did you count there?
It's about 11 or 12.
Do you think they should take this down?
Absolutely. This is completely new audio brought in from somewhere else. They're digging themselves a deeper hole because there's been many edits made to sensationalise this story.
The ABC has been contacted for comment, but Mr Heston, who's already won a successful defamation case against the broadcaster for $400,000, also wants an apology and is calling for a parliamentary inquiry into the issue. The Prime Minister refusing to be drawn on the matter today.
The ABC should continue to be independent of political interference.
The federal opposition has also called for the ABC to provide a clear and public explanation for the video once its internal inquiry is complete. Back to you.
Well, still ahead, going up, airfare prices to skyrocket after the collapse of Rex, and a rare, smelly penguin takes out a top bird honour.
The biggest transformation to aged care in Australia's history is here. 5 must-see stories over 5 nights, from the senior Australians living in luxury for less to revolutionary at-home care on a budget. We reveal how to set yourself and your loved ones up for A+ aged care. 7 News at 6.
A man who rescued a swimmer from rough seas at Fingal Head, just south of the border, has been honoured today for his bravery. John Gordon pulled the woman from the surf last year after she found herself caught in a rip.
The lady I saved lives, become like a friend of the family, and to meet the other people getting bravery awards today was fantastic, and so yeah, I feel very honoured.
The everyday hero says he's humbled by the award. The demise of a player in the domestic airline market is costing travellers more. New government data shows the cheapest economy fares were up more than 12% since July following Rex's exit from capital city routes. Business class fares remained consistent over that time but increased 12% in the past year. Texans fled for their lives when a natural gas pipeline erupted in the town of La Porte. A car is thought to have struck a valve, causing the fiery explosion. Power lines melted under the heat and towering fireballs shot high into the air. Schools, shops and homes had to be evacuated, and authorities don't know how long it will take for the residual fumes to burn off. A shy, yellow-eyed penguin has come out on top in one of New Zealand's most contested competitions, the Bird of the Year. Thought to be one of the world's rarest species, the hoi-haw can be found only across the ditch. It's the second time the penguin has swooped in to win the award. Sounds a bit greedy. Now, it was the fashion Bible of the 90s. Next, we flick through the history behind the glossy pages of Vogue, a new doco on the magazine premiering. And plenty of sunshine across the southeast today. This is a look at Brisbane right now. It is currently 21 degrees and Tony has the forecast next.
Tonight, the wild southeast police chase that ended in a dramatic arrest. A Qantas plane in a mid-air drop. Seat nightmare. The Cowboys scramble to reach their own semi-final. Dogs rescued from a raging inferno. And could the cost of a daily coffee be about to rise? 7 News at 6.
Good afternoon, Queensland. You're watching 7 News. Checking the weather now, and after a cool start to the day, there's been plenty of warming sunshine on offer. Well, for southern parts of Queensland at least. As we jump to the satellite, you can see that clear air in the south, but there is this band of high-level clouds streaming right across the tropics and down across central districts too. Not much rain with that cloud, but we are seeing a few showers around the north tropical coast, a couple of spots picking up over 10 millimetres since 9 a.m. Tomorrow, a broad area of high pressure will continue driving our weather here. It'll continue to push those humid onshore winds and the odd shower onto the tropical coast. Then those winds turn a bit more northerly, dry out and start to warm up over southern parts of the state. Elsewhere, a cold front moves in over southern states and that system will bring some snow to the Tasmanian high ground. And a few showers to Hobart. Well, Melbourne could just catch a sprinkle late in the day. Now, it's frustrating that it's cloudy down south as there's a good chance of auroras tonight after a huge geomagnetic storm. If those auroras reach a little bit further north, Perth, Adelaide and Sydney are looking at clear skies, but then you have to deal with an almost full moon. Not ideal. Back to northern Queensland, a shower or two on the forecast for Cairns. They should start to ease back from Thursday. Mostly cloudy but staying dry in Townsville, 18 overnight and back up to a top of 27 degrees. In the south, light frosts possible west of the ranges, then patchy cloud for the coast and onto the ranges, Gladstone and Bundaberg tracking around 26 degrees. In the southeast, mostly sunny skies for your Wednesday. Staying cool inland tonight, then slightly warmer through the day as those winds turn a bit more northerly. 13 up to 25 degrees in Brisbane, top of 24 in Redcliffe, while Beaudesert should be a little bit warmer on 27. Heating up later this week, Katrina, I'll have all the details coming up at 6.
Thank you, Tony. Members of Australia's Olympic community have gathered at the MCG to farewell former IOC Vice President Kevin Gosper. The 1956 silver medalist and long-time Games power broker passed away in July after a short illness. Today, he was remembered as a giant of the Olympic movement after his death at 90 years old. Checking finance and the ASX 200 continued its rally today, reaching a new all-time high. Here's Peter Casey from ING Bank.
Good afternoon. The ASX 200 continued its rally today, reaching a new all-time high earlier this afternoon. The market finished up 19 points, or 0.2% on the day, with markets boosted by the chance of a 50 basis point rate cut in the US later this week. The rally was broad-based, with medical and pharmaceutical stocks helping to lead the market higher. Biotechnology company PolyNovo was the biggest mover on the day, up nearly 6%. Glove maker Ansell also had a good day, up 4%. The Aussie dollar continued its recent strong run, trading at 67.58 US cents, boosted by those expectations of the rate cuts coming in the US.
Well, if fashion had a heyday, it was arguably the 90s, when trends were dominated by supermodels and celebrities. High-end magazine Vogue always had its glossy finger on the pulse, and a doco about its coverage of that glittering decade has premiered in London.
Fashion in the 1990s, sometimes as wild and wacky as it was inspiring and influential. And on hand to document and critique every crop top and daring dress was Vogue magazine.
That seems to be more in the palette. Yeah.
Now there's a documentary, In Vogue, the 90s, looking at what made that fashion decade so special.
Maybe it was because things were not much, but they were definitely simpler. We didn't have to worry about so many different platforms and everything appearing on social media.
For those in the industry, making it onto the privileged pages of Vogue was a statement of success.
What would it mean to a designer in the 90s to have their work featured within a magazine?
Everything, literally, because it was the magazine of reference. That was a way to, in a way, establish yourself within the world of fashion.
Since its first edition in 1892, the coveted cover pages have featured fashion's elite. But the 90s saw the supermodels occasionally make way for other stars.
And I was I was the only editor who said, let's put celebrities on the cover because we have to expand the readership.
High fashion has on occasion faced criticism for a lack of body diversity. To be representative and in turn relatable, big bosses have encouraged change.
Body diversity and body inclusivity is so important. It's something we talk to designers about all the time, and thank goodness it's changed.
Each decade has its fashion do's and don'ts. Just be sure that if you're going to wear it with confidence.
Absolutely. That is Queensland's 4 p.m. news for this Tuesday. Stick around now for The Chase and then, of course, 7 News at 6. I'm Katrina Blowers. I will see you tomorrow.
The 7 News app will give you the news you want. Download now.